everyone, Mom Mike here, and today is a quick video. This is what I'm playing for December 2021, so let's get right into it. This is our first video of the new year, so Happy New Year to everyone. I hope you had a fun and safe holiday. Starting off, we're going to talk about Hades, which I have mentioned on the channel before. I had a lot of fun playing this game. It certainly took me by surprise. I did not expect to like this type of game as much as I did, and it has inspired me to broaden out a little bit and try games that maybe I don't think I'll enjoy and give them a go. I have not yet beat this game. I'm taking a little bit of a break from it. I have gotten to the final boss and lose every time, but I also haven't really had the time to devote to the game. I don't like playing this in handheld mode on the Switch. I find that the type of combat this is, it's very fast-paced. You're pressing the buttons quickly. It does not work well for me on the Joy-Cons. As an alternative, I do have a little stand for my Switch, and I can set that up and use the Pro Controller, but it's not ideal to play it on the small screen for me. So in living with someone else and sharing, a TV, I don't have as much time to throw at this game. What I need is to be able to do a couple runs in a row, and then I probably will be able to beat it. I usually just don't have that kind of time, though. I can usually do like one run at a time. So I'm going to try and play more of this at a later date. We're setting up a loft area in our home where we'll have another TV space, and I'll get another Switch dock, and then I think I'll be able to really throw some time at this. But as of right now, it's a fantastic game. I highly recommend it. If you said, I don't think that game's for me, give it a go, because I completely didn't think I would enjoy this game, and between the story, the art, the gameplay itself is just phenomenal. You will have a good time with this if you're open to a new experience, so definitely give that a try. Our next game on the list, I went back to the 3DS to play Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. This game I picked up a while ago. If you're an old fan of the channel, you may remember I actually unboxed it. Atlas was doing some cool, these big box games for the 3DS, and I had picked up this edition of Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology. This is a re-release of Radiant Historia. The Perfect Chronology is that they added some new gameplay to it, and so you can play through the story. They actually give you an option of you can play through the original story and play the new stuff at the end, or you can play it sort of as they intended, of just play the story through and the new stuff is added in as you go. Overall, this game is interesting. It's a little odd though. I have some issues with it. The gameplay itself is fine. The combat is pretty enjoyable. They have this neat system where essentially if the enemies are on a grid system, so it's like a strategy, RPG, and so as you're attacking them, you can sort of lump them together. If I knock one enemy into another one, then my next party member can attack them both at once. I like that. It's a lot of fun the way you can sort of do combos like that. I enjoy it. What I don't like so much about this game is there's a lot of dialogue, and I am a JRPG fanatic. I know that there's usually a lot of dialogue in these games, but the issue with this one is that the core mechanic of the game is that you will go back in time and play the alternate storylines essentially. So you'll get to maybe like a roadblock, and then you have to go back in time, choose a different option, play through that, and then in the subsequent timeline, the issue is fixed. And that is, without any spoilers, the best way to describe it. So you have to continuously go back in time and replay things. In so doing, you have to constantly replay the dialogue. Now, of course, you can skip the scene altogether, but then you might miss something important, like their next instruction, what you were supposed to do, in case you forgot what was happening in that storyline. It's a lot to get used to. The mechanic itself is neat. I like the way they have it laid out. They have all the menus for you. When you go back in time, it's really easy to select where you want to go. They make a lot of the little checkpoints, they're called nodes, and there's plenty of them to choose from, but you still end up having to replay certain dialogue and replay certain actions over and over, and I just don't really like it very much, which is rare for me. I try to really approach games in a way that I try to see what they're doing and understand it and get the most out of it. And I'm just not crazy about this game so far. I will keep playing it. I've put, 5 or 6 hours in at this point. So I'm gonna play a little bit more and see if I continue to dislike it. I'll stop playing it. But for right now, Radiant Historia Perfect Chronology, it's not one that I would really recommend unless you were a fan of the original and you'd like to replay it. It runs great on 3DS. I love the art design, the characters are fun. I am enjoying the environments and the variety that they have in there. I like the map that you move around on and how they have that structured. There's a lot of things I like about this game, but the main sticking point for me is that it feels like a waste of time in some ways because you're constantly going back to replay something and you're stuck replaying scenes over again. And the last game on my list, this is Persona 5 Strikers. This is another example of a game where I hadn't played something like this before. I hadn't played one of the games in this genre, like the Hyrule Warriors and whatever. I'd never played one of these type of games, and I absolutely love it. One of my favorite features of this is how much of Persona 5 they put in here, and I really wasn't expecting it. I didn't read much about the game other than I did some research before buying it on Switch to make sure it ran well, and it does. The loading times are a little bit long, but I'm very happy to play it on Switch. I'm glad that I got it for that console. It plays great in handheld mode as well, no issues there. So what I'm loving about this game is the amount of love that they put into it from Persona 5. You do have some social aspects to it. It's not as in-depth, of course, but you are going to go talk to your friends, and they have the little scenes where they might randomly give you an item, things like that. The game does have like a request feature, so you'll get requests from the general public of things that you need to do, but also requests from your friends that level up your bond with them. It's just fantastic. It's so great to be back in the gang. It really highlights to me how much I missed these characters and that world. I loved Persona 5. I never got around to playing Persona 5 Royal, and this is making me feel like maybe I need to go back and play that at some point because I'm just loving this game so much, and seeing these characters that I absolutely adored and having them back on screen again. As always, the voice acting is great in this game. It was fantastic in Persona 5. It's continued into this one, and I love the art and style of Persona 5. That's all here as well. You have your cool personas and all their abilities. The enemies are really neat. The level design is cool in this game. Instead of palaces, you have jails, and they really added so much to this game, and I completely wasn't expecting it because I'd never played one of these games where you have a ton of enemies on screen, you're hacking and slashing to get rid of them. The combat system is more in-depth than I expected. They really did pull the full Persona battle system into here. It's simply not turn-based anymore. So you do have time when you hit the button to use your persona. It does, pause things a bit so that you can scroll through, find the right skill without just getting, wailed on by the enemies. They really put a lot of thought and care into taking Persona combat and applying it to this structure, and it works really well. I was a little intimidated at first for trying this, just like how I felt with Hades. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, and after the first couple of battles, I thought this is really neat. Of course, as you go through the game, you keep collecting more and more personas, getting new abilities, leveling them up, and it just feels better and better to play. You also, of course, you earn money, you buy new weapons, you'll find weapons or earn them by doing requests. I highly recommend this game if you are a big fan of Persona 5 and you are iffy on trying this. Give it a go. It's a lot of fun. It's all the characters and the world that you love. The combat is just a little more fast-paced because it's, live action combat instead of turn-based, but I think you'll really enjoy this if you're a Persona 5 fan. So that was what I'm playing for December 2021. Let me know in the comments below, what games were you playing last month, or what have you already started for January? We're in a new year, plenty of games coming out, and of course the backlog never ends. There's always something to dip into from there. Like, comment, subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you next time. Bye!